guys, welcome back to my book channel. My name's Hannah if you're new here. Hi! For today's video I had a really fun idea and I don't know if it's been done before, but I thought the title of this video was pretty cool. So it's called Once Upon a Bookshelf, and this idea is that you go through, if you either have a really small bookshelf, you either probably have books scattered around your house in boxes under beds or in other rooms and you've not read them for years, but you can't part with them because they give you some type of memory. Or that's just how I feel about books. A giant pile of books beside me. Tell you if I would reread them now as an adult, because I'm pretty sure all these books I read as a teenager. I'm now 27, so obviously I read them about 11 years ago. It was quite a long time to part with books. So yeah, we are gonna go with a olden goldie. So I asked my mum where all my Jacqueline Wilson books were, because Jacqueline Wilson is a absolute classic children's author. I adored her when I was younger. One of my hands down favourite children's authors. I just loved every single Jacqueline Wilson book that I ever read, but this was the only one I could find like in the boxes under my bed, and this is Kiss by Jacqueline Wilson, and for some reason the dust jacket just doesn't exist anymore, so I just have it with the red cover for some reason. So anyway, would I read this again now? I think I kind of want to, just for nostalgic reasons. Obviously going back in time to being, for when I first fell in love with reading, Jacqueline Wilson was one of the people that I read so much. So this one, I actually can't remember what this book is about. Read this again, and I think my favourite Jacqueline Wilson book that I probably do remember literally nothing was Lizzie Zipmouth. I loved that one. I also loved, you know what, I loved all of them. I can't lie. Dustbin Baby, Girls in Love, Girls Under Pressure, Love Lessons, and Kiss obviously. So I would even read this now as an adult. So Jacqueline Wilson is one that was once upon my bookshelf and I would read her again, so that's my first one. Second book, I can't remember reading this, but I'm pretty sure I have read it. Can I remember what it's about? Absolutely not. But this book is called Wander and it's by R.J. Palacio, and the blurb is, "My name is August. I won't describe what I look like. Whatever you're thinking is probably worse." And I, for the life of me, cannot remember what this book is about. I know I've read it, obviously, because I've read all these books, like, under my bed, so yeah. I would definitely read this again because I'm intrigued just by the cover. It's intriguing. So yeah, that's also once upon my bookshelf. The next one, for some reason, I only have the dust jacket of this book, and for the life of me, I do not know where the actual book has disappeared to. I don't know if someone borrowed it and just took this off, or they didn't want the dust jacket and then they just never gave the book back to me after the book. But anyway, Girl on the Train, hands down 5 out of 5, would read again, but it seemed to have disappeared and this is the only bit I own. But yeah, Girl on the Train, hands down 5 out of 5. I absolutely love the thriller. I think I prefer the book to the movie, just because the book is set in London and it's just so much more atmospheric than the movie. You literally picture London in your head and the tube and everything, and I feel like it would have just been more fitting for them to film in London, but they couldn't at the time because Emily Blunt was pregnant, so they couldn't fly back and forth, so, or something along those lines. But yeah, 5 out of 5, hands down. This still would be on my bookshelf if I had the book, but I don't know where it is, so yeah. The next book I have that was once on my bookshelf, Private Peaceful by Michael Morpurgo. I remember reading this obviously in school a very long time ago, and I would definitely read it again. If you haven't read it or you've never heard of Michael Morpurgo, do you live under a rock? And this is so interesting. Oh, a bookmark. Oh, okay. So the last time I read this book, I got to page 99, and I even dog-eared the book. And this list bookmark is from Scotland. I've never been to Scotland, so I don't really know where this bookmark came from. But yeah, so the last time I read this book is years ago, but I apparently only got 99 pages through the last time I read it. If you don't know what this book is about, it's a novel about the First World War. They've gone now and I'm alone at last. I have the whole night ahead of me and I won't waste a single moment of it. I want tonight to be long as my life. You just need to read this book at least once in your life. It honestly is one of my favourite books. Highly, highly recommend. And if I had a bigger bookshelf, it would be on my book. Start with this book. I don't know why. So yeah, that's the one that I was once on my bookshelf is Paper Towns by John Green. I remember reading this one. I remember liking it a lot more than the movie. Again, I feel like a lot of these books that get made into movies are kind of ones that I prefer as books. I don't know. Anyway, I just much preferred the book. And this, I used to have a lot more John Green books. I don't know where my copy of Looking for Alaska is or The Fault in Our Stars. No idea. They might be in the attic, but that's just a lot of effort to get them down and have a look at them. So I would read again, but yeah, that was once upon my bookshelf. If you've not read it, would I recommend? Next book that was once upon my bookshelf is a Jodie Pickle book, and apparently I also almost finished this one, and there's a actual envelope in this book that I don't know what this envelope is. Oh wow, okay, this envelope is from my therapist like 5 years ago, probably discharging me or something. And at the time I was reading this book and I got to page 346 and I just never finished reading it. I think it's because it got really sad and I was just sad anyway, so I was like, no, I cannot finish this book. So, oh okay, this book is not sad, okay. I don't know why I wasn't associating Jodie Pickle with like a murder mystery, but like the tagline at the back is like, he is a pillar of his local community, he's also a murderer. When Joseph decides to confess, it is to Sage Singer, a young woman who trusts him as a friend. When she hears, shatters everything she thought she knew and believed. Sage uncovers the truth from the darkest horrors of war. She must follow a twisting trail between terror, mercy, betrayal, forgiveness, love and revenge. I thought, for some reason I thought she wrote romances. Do I live under a rock? Probably. Anyway, this was once upon a bookshelf as well. So my last video, or one of the last videos I did, was series that I haven't read. But apparently this is the only book that I own of the Cassandraclaire series. And so I by itself and at Once Upon a Time and never continued with the series. I don't know what happened. I don't know, maybe I was like 16 or something and just only read this book. I don't know, but obviously I own the book, so I must have read it once upon a time. And now I'm intrigued because, I mean, like I'm a bit too old for it now. I don't know, I might reread this actually, but yeah, this Infernal Devices book one. I must have read it at some point, but I don't know what happened. Again, yeah, so we shall see if I get round to that. The one I have is One Day by David Nichols. Again, how many times will I be saying in my book videos, I prefer the book than the movie? That's a given. I just feel like Anne Hathaway's British accent just fluctuates so much and it just irritates me. And I don't know if anyone else that is British, I don't know is it because we're British that when Americans do a British accent, like it's so hard to master. Like I feel like she was trying to do like Oxfordshire, Cambridgeshire English, and I'm from that area, so I obviously know how we talk. But we tend to not think we have an accent, and then when other people put on a British accent, it just never conveys well. I don't know, there's one scene in this and she's like in a Mexican restaurant and her accent just like goes up and down and I'm like, did she have a dialect coach? Anyway, again, much prefer the book to the movie. This book makes me cry. I feel like most of these books just don't really have a place for my shelf or my bookshelves anymore. I am going to do a bookshelf tour and a reorganisation tour of my bookshelf, because I have like all my thrillers in like one area, and then my to be read pile, and then like romances, and they're just kind of mixed together, so then they're not really organised. The next one I own 2 copies of for some reason, because it clearly is my favourite Jane Austen book, which is Sense and Sensibility. I feel like this one isn't a lot of people's favourite by Jane Austen, but I have this one, which is a Colin Classic edition, and then I have the cloth bound Penguin edition, which is blue and pink, and blue is my favourite colour. But yeah, Sense and Sensibility is definitely my favourite Jane Austen novel, and I would read it again. But yeah, there's that one. And then we are just going to... I don't think I've actually read this book because it looks pretty not read, like it still has the sticker on it, and that is Will Grayson by John Green and David Lufian? I don't know how you pronounce his name. But this one at a time was on my bookshelf, and I think it must have been the time when do you remember everyone was doing like fan videos of looking for Alaska because they really wanted that book to be made into a movie? And I remember being like 15 or 16 and being like, oh my god, that book needs to be a movie. And then they made The Fault in Our Stars and Paper Towns into movies, and they never made any of the others into movies, and I was like, oh. But it's disappointing. Can I remember what this book is about? I have absolutely no idea. Would I read it again? Possibly? I don't know. And then we have the last books that I'm going to talk about in today's video is the Louise Rennison series. Oh my god, I forgot I still owned these, and this just reminds me of being like, I think I must have been like 10 when I read these or something. I don't know when these were first published, but these are the ones that I have. They are Knocked Out by My Nugga Nuggas, Dancing in My Nuddy Pants, Startled by His Furry Shorts, and then He Ate My Boy in Trances. And I think I did have Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging as well, but I do not know where that has gone. It's probably in the attic somewhere, but oh my god, these just remind me so much of my childhood reading, and I kind of want to go back to reading them and just reminisce and being like, oh my god, this is like the books that made me absolutely like laugh out loud and reminded me of my childhood now that I think about them. Yeah, so I might do that. Anyway, yeah, these are the books that once upon a time were on my bookshelf, and they just don't really have a place on my bookshelf anymore, but I can't part from them because they remind me of my childhood. I don't know. You can recreate this video if you would like. Just tag me in your description box and start your video with Once Upon a Bookshelf, and have fun looking through all the books that you find in your house. It's quite fun and it's quite nostalgic actually. So yeah, let me know if you've read any of these books or any of these books reminded you of your childhood reading, and I shall see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye!